As our history. Victor Luzio, Joe Santilli, Paul Sweeney, Chris King, Dylan King, and the extraordinary and much loved Rory Kelly. We wish he was here. We wish them both well. They, throughout 50 years, have dominated those four walls. We're reminded in our celebration of 50 years of the legacy of Victor Luzio and Joe, expressed through these beautiful shining trophies tonight. And we are amazed at their endurance, at their commitment to this court here, and the understanding of those walls and their rhythms and their angles and the way they spin, and we thank them for their four-wall leadership. I acknowledge tonight the presence of the Executive Director of the Australian Handball Council, James Corney. Thank you for being here tonight. I acknowledge the presence of members of the Hall of Fame. Victor Luzio and Bob Winter are with us. You are the building blocks of tradition. We stand on your foundation. You are the ones who played, created the intensity, the stories, set the standard. You invited others to play, you inspired. We thank you for being with us tonight. And in welcoming those two Hall of Famers, Olga, I welcome you especially, the most enduring and long-suffering handball wife in handball. Thank you so much for your presence. But welcome to all of us. To all of us who responded and felt compelled to attend this important event, because a sweet little Irish voice suggested we keep the tradition going. Okay, the little voice wasn't sweet, but it was pretty fecking, persuasive, determined, and a force to be reckoned with. I have loved the four-wall spirit of Lydia. You don't realise the impact that you have on us, how you connect us all as a handball community, and the importance of that invitation. And with Bernie and James and Mappa, something special happened on our weekend. The four-wall got off the canvas, and this has been fun, and there has been excellence, there have been efforts, and we have two new champions. And I'm delighted to have the microphone back. Mappa at the three-wall did an outstanding job, and I'm very happy to be with you. You know, I came with a personal quest, a search for an understanding, an answer to a lifelong handball question. I said to myself, why would they spoil handball by adding another wall to it? Well, today, in the glory and the efforts, in the excellence and the magic, the skills, I got to see my answer. I got to see within those humbling confines all the nuances, the angles, the intelligence, the efforts. I got to see them use a roof and a back wall to confront the power up at the front of the court and see them work in that intensity. I saw deft, light-footed rhythms, disciplined competency using both hands, and I saw courage and endurance and exhaustion and grace and a seething accuracy. This is a tremendous game. I'm delighted in my involvement this weekend, and I congratulate all of us here who competed. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the energy of the VHA. They've hosted again so soon after the Warrnambool success. And I experienced two moments that were glorious. One was watching the singles final. I thought it reached great heights. It was entertaining and painful, thrilling and honourable. Our hearts connected to both the champions who played. Both young men with their commitment and their talent. The other glorious moment for me was Saturday's soup. Look, the leek and potato was lovely today. I enjoyed it very much. But I'll never forget the taste of yesterday's soup. Benny, congratulations on all that you've done for us. I will remember that soup. No, this is a South Australian joke now. I will remember that soup and I'll be telling Miss MKR all about it when I get home. Oh, I know. Victorians seem to get us into a intense rivalry, right? The Saturday organisers were under pressure. Where was Charlie, whispered between swear words of his hard-working son. He shuffled paper, he scratched a new program, he glared at anyone that thought this was funny. We all rejoiced at our new scheduled update. So much was happening. So many on Saturday didn't quite realise which title they were playing for or what ball they would use, but they were pushed into courts. Games were played, hands were shaken, great shots. Umpires shouted muffled scores between those windows, but there was fairness and courtesy that prevailed in all the games. There were more groans and stiffness and soreness this weekend than I can ever remember from a handball carnival. But that meant it was a great success. Of course it was a great success. Cedar was sleek and fit, not a glove handle to be seen. James, he was busy and focused. He's so excited about the approaching tax season and James' third appointment to the Essendon Footy Club. Thank you. Reno showed us the fountain of youth and the graciousness of age. Beautiful Reno. Two Irishmen, Ben and Shane, played the longest four-wall game in the history of Australian football. Bernie was like Rudolph Nureyev in Swan Lake. He turned and swirled, pirouetted in elegance. He gets sweaty, but he can cook. Rowan's umpiring gave us an insight into the confidence and strident reminder of those in Ireland who have a very strong opinion. I was very scared to argue with him.
She's from Northern Ireland, say nothing.
And it was a success because of Nicole's joy at the victory. That innocent, unfettered, beautiful moment when she jumped in the air as a champion. It was fantastic. And I do want to say that Lydia inspired us with a combination of skill and determined aggression and humour. And Lydia, we felt so lucky every time you encouraged us in that kind of a game. So the Vics certainly put on the show. They welcomed us, and I offer thanks for their generous hospitality. Chris, you are quiet, you are a servant, you have a gentle smile, you gave us delicious cuisine. We couldn't have done this weekend without you, and we do thank you so very, very much. The design and the look of the merchandise. Thank you, Mappa, and all that generosity in making that happen so beautifully. So, we arrived. There was the Irish factor. They kept using the roof, kept the rallies going. They were conservative in creating a winning point. But Brodie saw through that and was power and butting from the very back of the courts. It was fascinating strategy. Today was a success in finding a new champion, though. Sunday morning started, lactic acid, pain, but the soup, the delicious bread, the meatballs, somehow we got better and our champions emerged. Congratulations to them. But to present the two major trophies, it's my pleasure to invite Victor Luzio to share some words of encouragement. His four-wall legacy is astonishing. His achievements, 32 Australian titles. It's a small misprint in the program that I got reminded of. 33. His mentoring and enthusiasm have been defining and indelible. To have you here, Vic, is important to us. For you to acclaim our champions is important. It's an honour for us to see someone who cared so much about this game, those mysterious four walls. So I call upon you now to come up to say a few words to us, and then we'll present the trophies to our champions.
an intruder, just like the Irish guys are. First of all, I actually spoke to Shane. That court that he was on today has a long history. In 1988, we had the world handball titles at those courts when it was a full 10 court. On that particular court, because it had so much room where the tennis courts are, we had bleachers and everybody could watch a game. I did a comment on the Mexicans, which is pretty hard to do, believe me. And I said, right, I want you two guys, I want you Manuel and Fred Alvarado to get on the court and give an exhibition. Of course they wanted the prize. It cost me $1,000 each for the bloody court to get those guys on the court. But it was worth every second. They belted each other up. And would you believe, Foncho beat him 21-20. So you tread on very special boards today, actually. Now, apart from him, there was a couple of other really good players that came along. Friends of mine that came out, stayed with me, and I jumped on his shoulders to play handball again. So I won another title. I'll do anything to win a title. Thank you. Now, I won't go any further on those courts. You should be very proud that you walked on those floors. And everyone else that has won a title probably hasn't remembered that fact that those courts are very famous. And every time I walk in there, I bless myself. And that's pretty hard for me. I haven't been a church goer for a long time. Now, the main reason why I'm here to speak is that 50 years ago, we first held full time. Now, I was a footballer. I did okay, but I had to retire because I had a couple of kids. I opened a shop 7 days a week. That's it. I retired from handball. But they held a full time in Sydney. So I said, oh well, I was in Ireland for 3 months, 60 by 30, back wall, no problem. I went up there. Paul Sweeney is a friend of mine, and we won a few titles together. He was there waiting for me, thinking, I'll beat this guy at last. I belted the chin out of him. And I said, come down and I'll tell him how weak you are, you can't beat an old man. On a sad note, during those titles, Paul and I are the only ones left. There's guys like Lou Rivesi, Freddie Saliano, Peter Urita, Paul Fallon, who was virtually on death's door, and a couple of other people. So it's a special night, and I've been thinking about those courts and that event for a long, long time. I'll remember for the rest of my life. Not Paul, he couldn't give a damn. I rang him to tell him the scores. He was watching the football. I said, where's the phone? But that's Paul over. He's such a great guy. And I love that the bastard. Now, I don't want to belt your ears around too much longer. There is one little thing that I didn't realise. The media told me. Pat Murphy. Is he your grandfather?
Yeah.
He's about my age. With me, I'm sure we've been on the court with him when that guy. Go back and tell him that, did he beat you or not? Ask him, did he beat you or not? Okay? Now, without further ado, this trophy is yours. Come in, man.
Oh, congratulations.
I think it's something about the history of the sport and stuff and the amount of players that played in that sport. So it's a huge honour to win it. And the Brody, I suppose, thanks for a great game. I didn't know much about him before this game, or before the tournament the weekend. I saw clips on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, and I knew he was a really good player, like so. I knew it was going to be a tough game, and it turned out to be classic. Must have been over probably an hour and a half, if I suppose. So, yeah, well done to Brody. Thanks for a great game. And thanks to everyone that was well involved in organising this event. We were treated very well by all the players. We couldn't have asked for more. Anything we wanted, we got. So thanks to Ben as well for putting us up this weekend. Yeah.
Sponsorship.
So yeah, I hope to see you all in Adelaide for the Handball in October.
Yes.
So,
You're going to be there.
that was it.
Really, can I get your trophy, Paul? He's calling again. Shane, how are yours? How do you want anyway? I know he carried you all day, what else?
Who's the double?
You get one of these, that's yours. And one coach stays with us, we're going to need round the cards.
Okay, come back.
You're on.
Welcome, Shane and Bernie. Well done, boys. And now the picture. 1, 2, 3. Now the picture. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Rock and roll. Anthony, you want this, yeah?
You got the
Look, firstly, I'd like to say, obviously, thank you to my partner, Shane. Travelled 4,000 kilometres to get here. It's a huge effort. And the guys from SA who've come over, you do make for the weekend.
Yeah.
You really do, so we really appreciate it. There's lots of helpers throughout the weekend, so I don't want to go and try and mention all, but I will mention Chris because you know, she's up at midnight making noodles. I really hope everyone's having a good weekend because that's sort of what it's about. You know, we try and create a flavour where we all stay together, we enjoy what we do, and we've obviously got to try and grow that game, but we've got to do it in a collaborative sort of a way. So we've got to get those people in from interstate. It's unfortunate with petrol prices and everything that's going on. We had a number of people pull out, which was unfortunate. But then the guys that are here, you know, it's been a fantastic effort to get here. So I'd really like to thank Simon, and as I said, I don't want to go through everyone, but the merchandise, say thank you to him.
Thank you,
okay? That is all him, so thank you very much. And as I said, I know there are a number of other people, but I don't want to see how they think of the ice and the Easters. He's looking at me. I've got to mention that. And of course, thank you to the guys who played against as well. So it was a great game. Right? Like it was really, you know, I really liked it. And shit, I mean, I've got a child that's younger than you. And he was on the court, mind you. So to be on there in the presence of these guys, I feel sort of privileged. Okay, so I really want to say thank you, and thank you to Brody and Ben Gill, who's had to fly back. But it was a great game, hard fought, thoroughly enjoyable. So I just, yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Congratulations, guys.
So congratulations to our champions, and Vic, thank you so much for being here with us and supporting our formal endeavours. We're going to conclude now just by asking James to come up on behalf of the AHA.
So yeah, I just heard the speech and I actually had written down "Shut up, Rob," so that
say it off well, because they do the better.
What?
In English?
Yes.
Okay, again, I think it's been touched on by everyone, and there is no way I'm ever going to compete with Greg in the eloquence. So this is from my words, and I'll try to take out the swear words with Greg. Firstly, thanks everyone for coming down. I've said in the past few years, we're not going to host this tournament just for the Victorians. We don't need that ego stuff. We really appreciate you guys coming down, because without you guys, there is no tournament. So yeah, South Australians, thank you. I understand you had to train on a squash court, and then a massive effort to get down here. Thank you very much. To the WA fly-in, fly-out crew, thank you for coming here and playing in, and we worked it out, 87% of games over the whole weekend. You won exactly 72% of points that were on this weekend. None of these numbers are true, but anyway. And an incredible tournament from you, Shane, undefeated until you face Nicole. So. The partners who always come to watch, it never escapes any of us just how boring a handball carnival is. And it's probably the main reason why most handball relationships end in divorce. There's quite a few here right now.
It's 5 at this table. We got so
And then, yeah, we've touched on some thanks, but I'll go over it again. To put on this carnival, a lot of moving parts. For me, yeah, June, as Greg alluded to, not a great time for the county to be doing anything. But so, shout out really, and thanks so much, mate. Mappa, everything you do, you keep thinking you're out, we pull you back in. Reno, thank you. Lids, immense. Can't thank you enough. You guys have been a blessing. And then the biggest thank you of all has to go to Chris and Bernie. There's not enough adjectives to go around. Everyone we've seen has had a great carnival and told you as much, and that is completely warranted. And yet you've set the bar high. So much so, Greg told us last night that South Australians are only going to try to replicate your carnival, so all the other carnivals Victoria hosted have been shit houses. No, really appreciate it. All the players, I think the games, it was a cracking exhibition this weekend, and I think that's a testament to everyone that got on the court. Bobby, you're not going to play, you've retired again. I've got the running count, Vic's up to 27 retirements, you're at 24. So Vic, you're almost there for 28, mate, but next carnival. One more.
Make another comeback.
Expect nothing less. No, thank you. Thanks everyone for being here. Great carnival. Cheers.
Thank you so much, James, for all that you do to bring us together. Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the formalities. Enjoy the evening together. We celebrate fall handball together tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Woo.